Well, today I'm going to bring you along on my little adventure to change the temperature sensor on my Moto Guzzi V85TT. Let's have a go. Okay, so what's wrong with it? Make sure it's in neutral. Let's have a look. The alarm service has come on. You see it? With that triangle warning sign and alarm service. You can make it go off and then it'll come on again in about 10 seconds. So, there you go. So at first, I thought it was well, I didn't know what it was. I had no idea. I thought it could be the oil pressure sensor. And I bought one, changed it, and it wasn't that. Then I took the bike in for a general service. I over service this bike. I always keep changing the oil. I always look after it. But so when it went into the service, they put it on the machine. It was the only way I could find out what was wrong with it. I stupidly thought I could buy a diagnostic machine like this off Taobao. Complete waste of time. Absolute rubbish. And then my friend, who's a bit of a motorcycle mechanic, he's got a proper diagnostic machine he shares with another guy. They both got Ducatis. And it works it'll do the diagnostics on nearly every single bike, except for this one. So I had no choice but to fork out when it went for the service. They put it on the machine and then they said it's the temperature sensor which is broken. So after doing research on the internet, I ordered this. This is it, the oil temperature sensor. And this one is different to the Euro 5 version of the V85. So this bike is a 2021 and I think 2022 onwards it's different. So you've got to make sure you get the Euro 4 version and then also get the compression washers. So the next step, of course, like all amateur mechanics, is to go onto YouTube and find someone else who knows what they're talking about, how to get the tank off. And this guy's called Cubby Sue, so thanks Cubby Sue. The difficult thing with taking off a fuel tank, and I took off my 1190 Adventure R fuel tank earlier this year actually to do a service and get access to a few things which you can't get access to if you want to, you know, change even the air filter. So I took it apart. Yeah, there's a few bolts holding it on, but the difficult bit is the fuel lines, the fuel pipes, how they're held together and not force them open, otherwise you'll damage them. And also that, you know, there are electrical clips as well, you know, for the fuel pump, the fuel filter and all that kind of thing. Now in Hong Kong, I don't have a garage. Well, I do use a garage, but it's miles away. And it is really, really hot. This is summer. Those Brits who are moaning about the UK, Hong Kong is not just really hot, it's extremely humid. I've got the bike underneath the balcony. I've got both fans whirring away. And it's not just the heat. In Hong Kong, we're plagued by mosquitoes and those horrible little semi-knots. So my dress I've covered all up, even my arms. I've got the joss sticks going. Bearing in mind I'm going to take the bloody fuel tank off, having a naked flame near it probably isn't the wisest idea. So I hope I've got it far away enough. Now this is Fanny's beloved Airbnb. It's a lovely apartment, very popular. And the aircon is on. And outside is 37 degrees, 100% humidity. And inside is 22 degrees and lovely and cool. Now, my suggestion to Fanny that I bring the motorcycle in here so that I can enjoy the aircon and keep away from the insects and the snakes wasn't met with the enthusiasm that I hoped it would be. And so I'm out there doing the best I can. Now, I'm not a mechanic. I've done stuff on bikes in the past. I've fiddled around with them. When I rode around, I do these long adventure rides in far-flung places. When Fanny and I rode around the world, we had a couple of issues, which was on her bike. One was the starter motor went in Sudan, North Sudan, what's now North Sudan, near a place where the Meroe pyramids were. Anyway, it was 50 degrees. We pushed her bike into this little town. It was hideously hot. And the KTM starter motor, or it was the starter relay actually, was broken. And cut a long story short, with the help of the locals, we wired in a tut-tut relay. I didn't know when the KTM one came off, it had about 8 wires sticking out of it. And when we put the tut-tut, Chinese tut-tut one in, it had 3 wires. You just got to do what you can. I also broke down in Namibia on my 990 adventure. And what happened is one of the wires had sort of, it had worn against somewhere inside the engine and exposed one of the wires, and created a short, I suppose, and it wouldn't start. And that was a miserable 3 hours in the middle of the really, really hot in summer in Namibia. I would love to have a garage with all the kit, you know, all those snap-on tools. I saw Charlie Borman on YouTube, and I saw his beautiful garage with all his stuff. I can't remember what he was doing. Oh yes, he was changing chain and sprocket on his I think it was a Ducati Desert X or something. He knows what he's doing. He's just pretending he can't do it. I met him in Zambia actually. He's a cool dude. But I would love to have a garage with all the kit. Maybe one day. I come in to get some cool in the Fanny's Airbnb, and there's Freddie Dobbs, talk of the devil, with a V85TT. He's looking quite young there. He's calling it the Gentleman's Tourer. Anyway, so he knows what the bike's like. Right, come on, Utley, get on and do it. You procrastinated. That's the thing about doing all this videoing stuff. You just faff around with stuff. So it's not just the red light coming on all the time. I think when the temperature sensor is important, because it feeds into the ECU or the mapping, or changes it slightly, I suppose, depending on what the temperature of the engine is. So it'll act as a sort of choke at lower temperatures, and adjust it when it gets hot. I imagine that's what it does. So it's not just the annoyance of having the red light going on all the time. So take the cover off. There's 2 screws there, and then there's 2 8mm bolts, and they're over there. And now I need to take that one out, which looks like an 8 or a 9. And then I saw that this is the pipe that you need to push apart. So now I have to disconnect this fuel pipe. There's a yellow sleeve on it which exposes 2 white buttons, and then I suppose you push those in and pull. 2 hands would be better, I think. Okie dokes. That's a little bit of petrol, I suppose, coming off. Let's bend that up. That one's done. Whoops. Keep away from those. How heavy is the tank? Right. And this should come off, I hope. Yes. Right. That one there, I've got to disconnect that. One goes to the tank, and one maybe a breather of some sort. I don't know. Ease it off, nice and easy. There you go. Okay, that one's off. What else is there to dismantle? He said some wires somewhere. Is that it? Can't be. Oh, I think there's some wires. That one. I think that's it. I think that's my tank off. So now I can see this goes to here, and it might have been that this attachment here was, well, not very secure. See that brass looking bolt? I'll approach it from the side, I think. This is the old one. I can't see anything. Why would it go? It's probably likely to be this connector or something to do with the wire, I imagine. Is it chewed up? Doesn't look it. Anyway, that's the old one. And the new one is here. There they are. The new one and the old one. In fact, they're not quite the same at the end. What's different? Well, what a palaver that was. Okay, so I'll explain what I've done. I take the Jimny keys away. Fanny's Jimny. Okay, so the female one, which was on here, has been replaced with the male one. You can't just use a junction box, you know, like you do on household sort of putting a plug on a lampshade or something. It's got to be the wire stripped, welded together, and then heat sealed insulation over it, and then some sort of hard setting. I suppose it's liquid plastic. So let's see if it works. So it should work. Fan belt. You kept cutting, and then your solder iron wasn't hot enough. I think just let me do it. The only reason I asked someone else to do it is because I didn't have all the stuff. I'm not the greatest at doing this, but if I concentrate and have all the right tools and everything and prepare properly, because the thing with soldering is you've got to prepare the metal and you've got to have flux and all that kind of stuff, and joining two pieces of metal. Also, he had all the heat shrink insulation for everything. He had a whole box of them. A bit like those clips we've got upstairs, which we'll never use. We wanted one, and we bought a box of about 10,000. So, a new compression washer. I've cleaned everything. I just need to check the torque settings. Not easy to torque with this cable on the end. And then all this has been cleaned up. And hopefully that repair, or that swapping over the female to the male, will work. Okay, bike is put together, I think. Not as easy to know where all the wires should go, because the tank fits very flush into whatever hole is there. So if you were thinking of putting some stuff underneath the tank, like a air horn or whatever, you don't have a lot of space. It's all a bit tight in there. But I did manage to check all the other cables while it was all apart. Let's see. Proof of the pudding. Turn it on. Might take a while for the pump to do whatever it does. Come on, bike. Stop. Is that it? Let's hope so. There we are. Oh. Now clear up. Put everything in the right place. Now, this bike has 16,000 kilometers. It's getting on a bit, but it's been more serviced than it needs to. It's in pristine condition. The electrics, I can only blame Italians for that. Aprilia and Piaggio and all that stuff. It's just, I mean, it might have been just a loose connection, because sometimes if I pushed the wire around, it went off, but the garage did say it needed changing, and it said that was the cause of the error. Anyway, the bike is perfect, brand new Bridgestones, or fairly new Bridgestones, all service, all oil, air filter, all the valves done, clearance is done. So the bike's all done. great. Needs a little bit of a clean. It's only done, let's have a look at the kilometers on here. Diddly-did. Lovely startup. So all these little touches, like this here, I think is just great the way it's done. Look at that light when it's like that. It's lovely, isn't it? Let's have a look at the tail light again. It always amuses me. It is like Thunderbird 2 or something, isn't it? It looks like the afterburners of a F14 or something like that, or a Phantom or something like that. Anyway, I hope you found that interesting. Those of you who've got Moto Guzzis, 再见.